This lesson is solving rational equation, part 1. Here we have an example, 3x minus 1 over 2 minus 1 over x equals 0. Let's rewrite this line down here so we know all of the denominators. One more time, rewrite this line down here to know all of the denominators. So 3x can be rewritten as 3 over 1. Here, 1 over 2 is already the way it is, leave it alone. 1 over x is already the way it is, so leave it alone. Next, find all of the denominators, multiply them to get rid of the denominator. So on the side, I wrote multiply all of the denominators to cancel it, but make sure no repeating denominators. So, and this is what I'm trying to say. If there's a 2 here, and if there's another 2, then just write 1 time only. Do not write 2 2's. Here's another example. Here there's an x, and if there is another x, just write 1 time only. Do not repeat the variable or the number. Okay, so again, find all of the denominators. Use all of the denominators and multiply it. The reason why we multiply the denominators so that we can get rid of these denominators. Okay, so one more time, find the denominators, use these denominator to multiply so that we can cancel these denominators. Okay, but make sure no repeating. And no repeating means if they have the same number, just write it once. If they have the same letters, just write it once. Okay, do not repeat them. Alright, so our denominator is 1, 2, and x, and since there is no repeating, we just use it one time. So there's a 2, so we use a 2. There's an x, we use an x. 1 is just 1, so we don't have to worry about it. So these are the number and letter from the denominator so that we can cancel. Okay, now just multiply. So 2x times 3x gives me 6x squared. 2x times 1 gives me 2x. 2x times 1 also gives me 2x. And as you notice, this is the denominator here is 1, so it stays as is, 6x squared. However, there's a 2 down here, we can cancel the 2. There's an x here, we can cancel the x. So now it becomes 6x squared minus x minus 2. Again, our objective is to get rid of these denominators. So to get rid of these denominators, we multiply itself so that we can cancel it. Okay, so again, I'm using 2. I'm using x. 1 is just 1, so we don't have to worry about it. 2x times 3x gives me 6x squared. 2x times 1, 2x. 2x times 1, also 2x. Here, the denominator is 1, so it's back to itself. These 2 right here cancels out. These x cancels out. Okay, and there are no more denominators. So all you have left is 6x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. Once all of the denominator go away, now we will have to use factoring trinomial. So here's your a, here's your b, and here's your c. Again, once the denominator go away, solve for the x. In this case, we have a trinomial, so we have a, b, c. So a is 6, b is -1, c is -2. Using the x method here, a times c, 6 times -2 is -12, and b is -1. Now the only two number that gives me -12 and -1 is 4 and 3. However, 4 must be negative, 3 must be positive, and the reason is -4 times +3 gives me -12. -4 plus 3 gives me -1. Okay, so be very careful of that. Also, because a is not 1, we have to divide by a. One more time, a is not 1, so we have to divide by a. And a is 6, so divide -4 to 6, +3 to 6. One more time. The reason why we have to divide by a, because a is not 1. Okay, if a was other number, then we have to divide by it. Okay, if a is 1, then we don't need to do this procedure. Okay, so one more time. If a is not 1, you must divide by a, and you have to follow this procedure. -4 divide by 6, +3 divide by 6. Okay, next, reduce the fractions if you can. So 4/6 is reduced to -2/3. 3/6 is reduced to 1/2. Okay, next, write this right here. Write the -2/3, 1/2 in factor form. So follow this step. Bottom goes first, top goes second. One more time. Bottom goes first, top goes second. So 3 goes first, and then -2. Repeat the same procedure with 1/2. So 2 goes first, and then 1 goes second. Okay, so bottom first, top second. Okay, once you write it in factor form, now we want x only, just x, because that will become our answer. So whatever this is, opposite. Whatever this is, opposite. But if you look very carefully, the answer is already in this portion right here, in this section. Okay, so the answer is in this section right here. So opposite of this, positive. Opposite of a half, negative. Okay, and so that will be our answer. Again, this is factor form, this is solve. Okay, this is factor form, this is solve. So when you solve, make sure it's always opposite. But if you look right here in this section, the reduced form, this is already the answer. Just make sure you do the opposite. So -2/3, positive. Positive a half, negative. And this is our answer. Okay, so this is the answer to the problem in the beginning. Okay, so be very careful.